And just to get a consent that I'll be recording as usual. So if you need the recording part of this message or this discussion, you can always contact us and we will send it to you. So welcome again to Come Let's Reason Together. My name is Professor Oluseyi Olusoya. I am the convener of this particular talk show. And I'm happy to welcome every one of you for joining us this afternoon to look at a very, 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 very important topic area in marriage, which I termed leadership imbalance. Do we correct by love or do we correct by domination? And to me, today I've got this lovely couple that is, I call friends of Come Let's Reason Together. We're always there to come and look at all the different topics that we bring forth onto this platform. And they've been really, really blessing us. They are not new in relationship talk. They have talk shows, they have written books about marriages, and I'm sure maybe one or two people don't know them, but majority of us that are on this platform right now knows who they are. But I will invite them again to just introduce themselves so that people that are watching you again today will be happy to meet you. And don't forget to include your work, all the works that you've been doing. And if there's a way they can contact you, just in case anybody needs your support or assistance, who knows? They might just check up on you in America. Over to you, sirs.
So we are Casper and Cheryl Stockham. We are marriage and relationship coaches. We're also Christian broadcast TV producers. We have a TV show, a second season. It's called Winning with Love. It's on the Zandra TV network, so you can download it on most devices. So Winning with Love TV show, second season. We also have written several books. Our first book we wrote about 4 years ago called Divorce Proof Your Marriage. And we wrote that. And then now we have some other books out called Mastering Adam, which is a book I wrote, and that's the biblical Adam. And then we have Mastering Eve, which is it's the biblical Eve that Cheryl wrote. And then we have a book called Mastering Adam and Eve. It's kind of like a reflections, um, devotional type book that kind of ties them all together as a set. So we're actually doing a lot of things. We have a new God-centered community that we are building that everyone is welcome to join. It's free. It's called the MVP Love Hub. MVP is Most Valuable Partner Love Hub, and you can get to it by going to our website, which we put in the chat, which is iamlovebuilders.net. And we're always excited to be a part of the discussion on Come Let's Reason Together.
Thank you so much. That was brief and precise. Thank you so much for thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for always joining us. We always appreciate you and appreciate your contribution on this platform, which has been blessing a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you've heard from them. So if you need their support, you can always contact them. They are always there to support you in any area of your marriage. Whether you are young, whether you are old, whether you are mid, I'm sure they are able to help. And my pastor is my brother actually, and he's been the support system for Come Let's Reason Together. He has been coordinating Come Let's Reason Together with me. And today I said, no, you have to come on board today to come and be the part of that discussion. Don't be on the background alone. You have to come up and share your experiences. We all have experiences. He's a married man as well. But he's been the partner and the rock for Come Let's Reason Together. And he's no other person than Pastor Jeremiah. So if you want to introduce yourself to everyone so that they can meet you, for those that have not met you before, we will appreciate it. Over to you.
Well, thank you so much. I want to say that this is a privilege to be a guest on this platform. I want to say thank you, Ma, for that privilege. My name is Joseph Jeremiah. I'm currently serving with Christ Apostolic Church worldwide, and I'm the founder of Season of Change podcast. And I'm an author, I have a magazine, Rising Sun magazine, which I always publish every quarter. But for a while now, we've changed it to twice in a year. And we, on our platform, Season of Change, we features a lot of people, entrepreneurs, marriage speakers, and other people to feature to talk about Christ. Is a platform where we transform life through the power in the Word of God. And that is just me. I'm just a little boy to come and share my experience today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that brief introduction, and thank you again for joining us. I want to welcome all our participants for joining us today. I know there are lots of programs that are going out there, but you find it so, so much well to come and join us to listen to our discussion today. We appreciate you, and we hope by the end of this discussion, you'll have gained one or two things, in regards to love, domination, and, and so many other things that is going to come up. So just to go straight to this topic, I'm going to start with Gaspar and Shirel. And let's establish what love, domination, what does it really mean, especially in the context of marriage? I'm looking at what difference does it mean between control with love and control with domination? Because I want to believe that sometimes people actually control with domination without knowing, and they think they're showing love to their partner. So when we establish the difference between dominating with control and with love, maybe then we can now buttress it further. So I'm going to start with you.
Go. You want me to go?
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear the word domination, it almost seems like a master slave kind of situation. But I think a lot of times in marriages, it's not even that. It's just that we want our way. We want, we're selfish, right? So we want it to go our way. So we try to control or manipulate our spouse into certain situations, or if we wanted things to happen at a certain time, or just a certain way and stuff. So it's not so much domination as in um, forced necessarily, but it definitely is implied that you want your spouse to do a certain thing, and that's a selfish perspective. Our perspective is completely based on love. Our whole concept, our whole ministry, everything we do is based on love and building that love. So for us, that's kind of like the starting place.
Mm.
I
Go on, Chirel.
Domination to me, it sounds very harsh and it's very cruel. And I think some people, when they say dominate, they actually do mean dominate. They want to take over and they want to take control. And that's when we get relationships that are abusive and very harmful and very destructive and very traumatic. However, when you're including love, love doesn't really dominate. Love gives the person grace. It gives the person room. Love is collaborating, not dominating. Love says, I want to hear your perspective. I want to hear your thoughts. This is the way I think it should go. This is the way I'd like to see it go. But what do you want to say about it? And then you collaborate. Domination, there is no collaboration. There is no room, no wiggle room. It's you do it my way and my way only. And that's not the heart of God. God does not dominate us. He gives us a choice. He gives us options because he loves us. And so love will give grace and mercy. Love will collaborate. Love will stand back and allow you to share your perspective. Love will patiently wait to see if you come around. But if you don't, it doesn't force you. God doesn't force us to love him. So I don't believe in a relationship or in a marriage, one should be forcing the other. That's not the heart of God.
Thank you very much, Sheree, for that. And I think the key point for me in that context is that as much as we know, God loves us, even with all our shortcomings. He still shows us love, but never dominate us. And that's what should happen in marriages as well. But then we tend to believe that a lot of people will say why they are doing that is because I love you, I love you, I love you. So I'm going to ask Pastor Jeremiah, when does loving someone becomes a domination situation in marriage?
Well, if I would say, God never designed marriage to be a control or power struggle. Marriage is designed for love, for mutual honor, for partnership. It never designed marriage for power struggle. But when love now become domineering, that's when control now being driven by insecurity. When control is being driven by insecurity, authority is being enforced through fear. Authority is being enforced through fear. Corrections now without empathies. Now comes without empathy. Now powers without partnerships. So all these things now, love does not, insist on himself, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. That's when it's not supposed to be dominated. When love becomes domineering, all these things begins to feature in love. Then, controls will be driven by insecurity. Maybe the husbands will be saying, okay, this is what I want, or maybe this wife wants to take dominion, enforcing their wish on their partners, which is wrong according to how God has designed marriage for us.
Thank you so much. Wow,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Awesome. To actually put more juice into this topic today, I'm going to quickly narrate a story. And from that story, I think a lot of questions will now come up. I think we've emphasized or we've laid a foundation of what love in domination is, and love in control is, and love naturally is. And in fact, Pastor Jeremiah also mentioned that insecurity can actually become a situation where a spouse will want to dominate or want to control his or her wife or his or her spouse, and then we'll be saying, oh, it's because I love you, it's because I. So there was this story that happens between a couple. They are both believers. However, this woman won, I think she maybe in the office, she won an award. And this day they were going to go to the office to go and receive that award. And she was going to go with the husband. And then she put on a long dress. This is not a dress that is inappropriate. She was wearing a long gown that is even up to her neck with long sleeve and everything. But to the man believed that she has dressed too much and told the woman that you need to take off this dress and go and put on another dress because this doesn't showcase you as a child of God. And the woman was saying, no, look at what I'm wearing. No part of my body is exposed. I am well dressed. I am suitable for the occasion. But the man insisted. So this woman went back in and then go inside to go and tie a wrapper and buba. And that was when the man said, hey, now you've dressed properly. This is how a married woman is supposed to dress. And they went. And this particular, action keep on going, that the woman will be contesting about everything that this lady is doing. Then at a point in time, the woman didn't know what to do again. So she became passive. She became passive. She doesn't talk to the man. Even if the man talks to her, she will just do exactly what she wants to do, but she will not raise any discussion or conversation or whatever. And at a point in time, I think this character was in this man. Then he started showing in the office as well, where he was working, and people started talking about him. And then he got the gist of what they were saying. And then one day he now sat down and reflected on his character and says, is that why this woman has been kind of isolating herself from him? Until that particular day, before he realized what was happening. And then went back to the woman, to mediate between themselves. Now, what makes, I'm not going to be gender biased today, but what will make a particular spouse be so uncomfortable with their wives or with their husband to the extent of trying to control and dominate their thoughts, their emotion, everything about them, to the extent that the woman or the man will feel in value again. I'm going to ask you, Pastor Jeremiah, before I call in the love builders.
Sometimes, control can be in two ways. We can have healthy controls, which is directed and rooted in cares. Is directed and rooted in cares. And sometimes we can have toxic controls, which comes by authority or by force or by what I said, insecurity. The man may be feeling insecure. It's not only men that does that, but women can also do that. They can be feeling insecure. Okay, where's her that she's better than me, or maybe she's well dressed than me, or maybe some men may be admiring her on the process. And when there are kinds of controls that will bring boundaries that will protect both parties, not trying to protect one person. But when it comes to issues that one is trying to be domineering and is trying to control the spouse, maybe the person one way or the other, if we are to check back, how do they started their relationship? What is the beginning or the foundation of their marriage? Sometimes there may be a point of compromise between the relationship that both of them, maybe the man have doubted the woman for once. They both need to sit down and maybe there is no effective communication between both of them. So all these things, or no mutual understanding, all these things may be giving the man, maybe making the man to feel insecure when the woman is going out. We've seen some relationship where the husband is going out and the wife is going out. I mean, the husband have to monitor the woman with phones. Where are you? What are you doing? Why do you stay long? And some women also does that. So these are things that will make people to maybe want the man or the woman to have this kind of want to be domineering. Okay, if I ask her not to go, at least it will reduce the pressure that will be on me, or maybe reduce my problem or doubt of the relationship. Maybe that's what I just have to say about it. Want the man or the woman to have this kind of want to be domineering. Okay, if I ask her not to go, at least it will reduce the pressure that will be on me, or maybe reduce my problem or doubt of the relationship. Maybe that's what I just have to say about it.
Thank you very much, Pastor Jeremiah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to go back to Casper and Sherelle. What is that thing that makes men to believe that in a marriage they have the upper hand? Because I know that in that scenario that I shared with you, I'm hearing myself. What is that thing that makes men to believe that? I'm hearing myself, so I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because I know that in that scenario that I shared with you.
Do
Is it
you have
better
two
now?
devices?
I think maybe there's two devices on, but on my side, there's only one device. Okay. I'm hearing myself, so I don't know where it's coming from. All right, let's just continue.
What's going to become?
I shared with you. Is it better now? Is it better now? There's two devices on, but on my side, there's only one device. Is it better now? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I can
It's
hear you,
still
but
going
there's still
Yeah,
an
The
echo.
echo is
All right,
there.
let's just continue.
It's coming from your system.
We can hear you. What you can do is that you can come out and come back in.
It's going to stop everybody because I'm the.
Okay.
It's better now. But on my side,
It happens to me once like that. I have to come out and
It's
come back
coming.
again.
It's coming from your Facebook. You have
On
to.
your
is it
Facebook,
better now?
you need to
Is it better
reduce
now?
your device
Yes.
on
Yeah.
your reduce
Okay.
the volume of your device
Okay.
so that your
Thank you.
Facebook will not be interfering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, back to my question. What is it that makes, I know Pastor Jeremiah mentioned something about insecurity or maybe their foundation or, but we are talking about couples that have been together. They've been married. It's not 1 year. It's not 2 years. It's not 3 years. And then all of a sudden, this kind of attitude and behavior starts within within the couples. So what will make the man? I don't want to be talking from what I'm thinking in my brain, but I want you to share what you think is likely to make that man. Let's talk about men now, to start controlling his wife, dominating his wife, and trying to say to the woman, the man is the head of the family, and they use scripture to buttress this.
Oh yeah.
But in the aspect of this, it doesn't look like it's love. It's actually like, I am going to be controlling. I'm going to monitor you. I'm going to shape you. You are going to do what I want you to do. You're not going to be able to do your own thing. So what will make them to get to this situation as a man?
Well, there's a couple of things that could be going on, and Pastor Jeremiah was correct. It more than likely um, was there early on in the relationship and stuff. They just ignored it or they just dismissed it. But if it came about after they were married for several years, then the husband may have felt insecure because of something going on at the office. In other words, a coworker is paying his wife compliments, or they're hanging out and going to lunch and stuff with a bunch, maybe a group of people from the office, but then there's one individual that's always making comments about his wife. So then when they decide to go to this event and she puts on a dress, now even though the dress in your scenario, she was covered, wasn't really any body parts exposed. It might have been like a tight dress, right? So it's still tight or something. And the husband feels insecure that she's going to this office event in this dress. Normally, it's the other way around, to where the dress is too revealing, right? It's too revealing on the cleavage, or it's too high or whatever. But it's still the same thing. The husband is feeling insecure about what his wife is wearing, and he wants her to cover up, right? He wants her to be in something different. But that's a insecurity from his vantage point, not hers, in my opinion.
I would also say it, like Casper said, it could be a myriad of different reasons, but it also could stem from who the husband is hanging around. Maybe he's starting to hang around with his single friends. Or men who are married but have no respect for their wives or their marriages. So if he's in the company with scripture says that bad company corrupts good manners, So if you're hanging around with a group of men or single men who don't have a good respect for their own marriages or for women in general, and that seed of insecurity was already hidden you down deep somewhere, and it never surfaced. But if you get around this group of men and you listen to the conversation and what they're saying and what they're doing, or what they're experiencing in their marriages. Maybe in their marriage, they did have a wife who was flirtatious. It wasn't yours, but you begin to take that on and you begin to transfer it to your marriage, to your household. So that could also be a reason why. And it's vice versa, because if a married woman is hanging around single women, and they have a totally different perspective on relationships, and they are free and they feel that they can flirt or play around. And if you hang around in that atmosphere, you begin to pick up some of those characteristics or those traits if you are not careful.
Yeah.
So it happens either or. But in your particular scenario, he could have started hanging around with different men who just don't have a respect for their own marriages. And therefore, he's starting to pick up some of that. And is starting to enhance or unearth a seed in him that was already there.
Mhm.
I want to say something to just to buttress what Caspar and Cherry said. You know, in some marriages, the woman may sometimes not respect the man.
Mm-hmm.
The woman may not respect the man, and maybe her attitude at home is different from what she's showing outside. And
Right.
maybe sometimes the man will look at it that, well, if you have not according the respect to me at home, then you have to use my authority to stop you as the head of the family. And all these things sometimes boil down to how they understand each other, the way they see life. And sometimes the man may notice some weakness in the woman, in his wife, and sometimes may want to like, okay, let me help her. Maybe the way people address her, she don't talk, she don't care what people said about. Sometimes when some people are careless. When they find that you're married, there are things they don't talk to you. There are ways they have to give accord respect to you. But some people may not know that the woman, they may know that the woman is married and never knew her husband. And maybe on their way going, the man somebody will just meet the wife and say, how are you? Call her by name and just begin to talk all sorts of things. And the woman may not respond, woman may not act. But as a man, the man may be expecting the woman to say, okay, sorry, this is my husband. Like, let me say, for instance, there was a time when I was in courtship with my wife before I got married. And we went to bank and we met with one of our old friends, colleague where she served. A service in Nigeria. Here we call it youth service after our school, just 1 year program with the government. And they were greeting. The person is a man. And I was surprised. She just left me and they were gisting and they were talking. I got provoked and said, what kind of thing is this? And never you tried this with me. And things like this may be happening. And she pleaded and said, sorry, this is my colleague. And right as we got married, she never tried that because she knew that, well, I don't like such. You don't need to abandon me and just be carried away with friends and you keep talking while I'm your husband. The least you can do, sorry, I'm with my husband, we need to go, we have a place to go, just you excuse the person. But some ladies are not like that. Same thing to men. So men too are carried away when they see friends and they forgot that, okay, they are going somewhere with somebody. So these are part of what we bring all these things. And a man wants to enforce his authority upon woman like that.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Pastor
In the
Jeremiah. I will
in the
come to
cir-
your point because there are some points that you raised that I want us to trash. But let's see what our father wants to say. Professor David Shirley, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prophetess. I raised my hand because I'll have had to go in a few minutes. So if I can just chip in one or two things from my end.
Thank you, sir.
I'm a medical person and I've been practicing medicine for over 40 years. And out of those 40 years, I've been married for 38. Actually, for 29 days time, I've been 30 years in this institution, which you started by getting a certificate first. That's the only institution where you get a certificate before you do the exams. So it's been a learning curve since then. And over the 38 years, we've had a lot of experiences which I can share. I've got 3 children, they are doctors as well. And I have 3 grandsons. I'm saying that so that you know that one has seen quite a lot. And in my job, you will understand that I meet couples over the years and counsel, and I've had various scenarios. But let me just say quickly that it's about control. The topic is about control.
Yeah.
It's about control, and it could be either way. You know, the man, we usually think controls the woman, but the woman can control the man in some instances. So don't let us be parochial about it. But even then, even the control, and although we talk, the convener talked about dominance, which, like Casper said, will actually connote force, aggression, coercion, which Cheryl also dissected down. But do you know what? You can dominate not just verbally and physically, but silently.
Absolutely.
You can dominate emotionally. And I'm talking this because personally, I use myself as examples. When I'm actually very, I keep quiet, and it unsettles my wife. I control her that way. Can you believe that? She can hear me now. She just did. But by me not saying anything, she's worried. And I can use that as a weapon of control. Can you imagine? I won't shout at her. I just what you might call it silent treatment. And that's not good. The whole thing about, I mean, which Cheryl said, and also Jeremiah also said, it's about love, you know, and God has not created us to chastise or dominate over one another. But we must realize that there are two people, most times from different backgrounds, different personality. It might take a while, you know, for you to walk into one another and to know how to cohabit very successfully. It can take a long time. You know, I always say when I counsel, that point of you getting married is the highest point of your love. Do you know? From there, you start knowing yourselves very well. You know, the things you don't know before you got married, except God helps you, you start finding things that you over the times before would have overlooked. The way he coughs, let me say something. I have a younger cousin, and the person was going to marry this long time ago, and the guy couldn't tolerate that when he goes to the loo to wee, he wees in the water, and she doesn't like the way the toilet sounds because he's weeing. And you think, and you think it's something easy. That's how, and that's what that made them to actually get away from themselves. They never got married. Simple things like that, and that's because they were getting together before they came together to create. That was not a problem. So you start discussing and finding out about your partner after you start living together. As Bible says, you shouldn't be cohabiting before then. So you know that's been but that's when you do, you start finding things. But you have to devise a method where you have to tolerate one another. Remember, you are from different backgrounds. Now let me zone down to this particular scenario by prophetess. Two things for me: insecurity, inferiority. Insecurity, inferiority. There's no way. Remember, the woman was going for an award. That's the high point. Has the man ever had an award? Has he ever done so well that he's appreciated? You know, now that can trigger out something in the man. Now, is the man now earning more? Is the woman now earning more than the man? You know, so it's about inferiority complex. You know, you then became very insecure. And then he might have loved her, and like Cheryl said, they might have been going out with some, you know, guys who are not married or care. They give no respect to their wives. I said, no, I can't take that. You know, my wife, no way. I'm the man here. They might not even be Christians. And he might not think that way, but he sows a seed in his mind. And then maybe the next month, the wife got elevated at work. Oh, but then the wife, as I'm thinking, oh, am I losing control here? No, so these are some of the things. But bottom line, love, like it says in 1 Corinthians 13, love is sacrosanct with God. And if we take everything back to him, and we are meek and gentle, and we trust one another, So not the woman playing the man, not the man playing the man. You can say, no, I know, even I'm not there, my wife cannot do that. You know, you should be able to, we should, as married people, be in that position where I can say, my husband cannot do that, even when I'm not there. Let me stop there. Sorry if I come off the live. I hope I made a little, but thank you very much for listening.
Very well. Thank you so much, sir, for your contribution. That was excellent. Thank you so much. So, I mentioned something about passive aggression. That was what our father just described to us. That's what he practices when he's upset with the woman. He's not talking, he's not doing anything, he just go quiet. And that's one of the things that this woman that I shared the experience with you. That's exactly what she was doing. So over to you, Casper and Shirel.
One of the things I wanted to stress is that in the story that you gave, it's not about the dress. The dress, that's the top thing that they were talking about, but they weren't addressing the hidden issues that were going on. And there's a bunch of potential hidden issues like insecurity and lack of caring, lack of love, lack of respect. Who knows? We'd have to dig down deep into the story to find out exactly what's going on. But most couples, especially ones that we talk to, they come to us with the issue. He doesn't pick up after himself, or she's wearing provocative clothing or whatever it is, or even some kind of or it's pornography or whatever. But all those things are surface issues. They're not the actual problem. So we have to dig down into the actual problem to figure out what's going on and solve it. And if in her case, it sounds like she just kind of withdrew or became very subservient, as opposed to them solving the actual problem. Her solution was to just just withdraw and not push back. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much. My question again will now be, in the case of that woman, what better ways should have managed it instead of becoming passive? Pastor Jeremiah. And I'm not going to limit it to the woman, because it could be the husband that will be in this position as well. We've just had what Dr. David Shelley told us, that everything has to be in love and understanding. But then, how can a woman manage such situation that it will still maintain a peaceful and lovely home without opening the door for the devil to come into that marriage? Because that's a channel for the devil to come in and destroy that home if we give him that opportunity. So how better ways should a spouse or a couple manage that when it's getting to a situation whereby, when men will say, I am the head of this family, you must listen to what, even though what he's saying doesn't actually showcase a good decision, but just because he's the head of the house, he wants the woman to do exactly what he is saying. And sometimes women too, they want their men to do exactly what they are saying, trying to dominate it, maybe because they are in a better position than that man. So how can they manage it that it will not actually disrupt the whole system, the whole marriage functioning in that home?
Well, let me give an instance. I was listening to one pastor and of recent concerning marriage, maybe issues like this. And he said sometimes when he wants to dress, his wife will just say, Daddy, why do you put on this? Oh, my dear, why do you put on this? Why do you put on this? He said he will just calm down and ask her, okay, please, can you choose what I need to wear? That is all. And that settles the argument, maybe the grudges. The woman should learn to manage the man in the first place, learn to manage him. No, another thing the woman should do is find out what is the cause of his reactions, what is prompting the man to react that way, because you need to know what will make a man to react that way. The woman should take time to study, to know, ask questions, ask the man why, what is making the man to act that way. I believe that if there's no reason, the man will not be acting up. But the woman should take time to ask. Sometimes, like our daddy said, daddy that just spoken said, sometimes some men don't give respect to their wife. They don't want their wife to be more than them or maybe supersede them in some things. But at the same point, the woman can still talk to the man and say, look, if I look well, it's for the glory, it's for your own glory. People will say, oh, wow, this. And the woman, if I am in the position of that woman and I will change and put on the dress he is asking me to dress, I'll wear. Then what I will do, we'll get into the occasion, I will start introducing the man to everybody, meet my husband, meet my wife, if it's my wife, oh, meet my wife, oh, see my beautiful wife. Then all these things will wipe away maybe all the thoughts, maybe anything in mind that you may be having. So the woman should use applied wisdom. Otherwise, she will be at the receiving end when everything scatter or when everything go worst. But the major problem there is still leadership imbalance, which the leadership of the home is not maybe appropriate. Is not Nobody is appointed to be a leader in marriage. Both of us are to be partners and to be mutual, to live and to be in love. Despite the fact the Bible says man should be the head, is to be responsible. The leadership in marriage for the man is responsibility. It's not that a man should rule his wife. It's not that man should rule his wife. The Bible didn't say man should rule his wife. No, it's to be responsible and give his life. There is a passage in the Bible that said, as Christ, man should love their wife, as Christ loved the church and give himself to the church. That is, give himself. So we need to give ourselves to our wives as a man, and be responsible, take care of them, do all what we need. Then that will command submission. And submission should be voluntary, not to be enforced. So that's just what the woman should do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say in that area. Because we've seen so many of this particular scenario, even among men and men of God and women of God, that they want to lead their own by controlling their wife. They will cook for them. They will say, why did you cook this particular food? You should cook this particular food. Things like that actually, sometimes happen within the family. My question now is, like Pastor Jeremiah said, that when the Bible told us that man is the head of the family, as the leader of that family, is not saying lead the family with control or by dominating which we know that a lot of that has happened. The people, you will see some women, as soon as their husband is coming home like this, it's as if something else is coming home. Even the children, everybody will be panicking, will be shaking, because why? The leadership of that family is toxic. So when we have scenarios like that, whereby the woman is actually doing everything a woman, and let me just use that one word, submissive to that man. But this type of attitude is coming out of this man. How long do you think that woman will be able to take it on board? Because when men are toxic in their relationship or vice versa, it doesn't allow you to flow, and it doesn't allow you to go to become who you are supposed to become. It kind of diminishes you in a way. So when should a woman say no to this, or when should a man say no to this? And how do you present this case? We've heard about passive aggression. We've heard about love, but love in what way, in which sense are we talking about? Over to you, Shirel and Jasper. I don't know who wants to take that on board.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is wisdom. In that situation, especially a woman of God, she would seek wisdom from the Holy Spirit as to how to minister to her husband in a way that he doesn't feel inferior or disrespected. She would find, the Bible says, a soft voice turns away wrath.
Yep.
And you can be soft and you can be gentle, but doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you are submissive to a point that you are passive aggressive, or you have no say, or you're dominated. Wisdom would speak softly, gently, but firmly and strongly, and still be laced with love. Because in this situation, it would be the same as a parent to a child. If a child is behaving a certain way, there's something going on in that child's heart that mother could sense, or get in there and massage that heart and ease those insecurities. So it could be just a matter of the woman having enough wisdom to speak to her husband gently and in a way with love that would cause him to think of his own actions. Now, I know in this scenario, we're not talking about abuse, because that's a whole different ballgame. But we're just talking about where there's some misguided behaviors that sometimes creep into our relationships if we are not mindful. However, I do believe that wisdom would be the key. It's just learning what to say to him, how to say to him, say it in love without you don't have to be wimp or weak, but still be firm and ease whatever those doubts or fears or worries that the devil has them entertaining, that's really not true. That's not even really happening.
And also seek out good counsel, right? If you're not sure, you lean into the word and stuff, but you're not sharing what you're hearing, then reach out to someone that you trust, who you believe is also plugged into the word, and see what they think about that particular scenario. Because what happens is, if you don't do that, then you wind up isolating yourself. And like this, in this particular story, this lady did, um, she should have reached into the word, but then also sought out good counsel.
Thank you very much. She did listen to the man because she went to change. So
Right.
whatever the man thinks is
Yeah.
the appropriate way of dressing, you know, she was putting on a gown, not a gown that is exposive of any part of her body, but still the man wasn't comfortable because she was looking good, you know.
Mhm.
Right.
And I
Well,
think that is
he wasn't comfortable because he was insecure.
exactly.
Right.
So until she
Yeah.
now went to change to a traditional attire, which is just the normal blouse and wrapper, that
Yeah.
makes him more comfortable because he believes that um, dressing like that doesn't make her attractive. That's just what I can deduce from that. It doesn't make her
Right.
attractive to the other genders, but
Mhm.
I think the problem still lie under this fact that there is mistrust um,
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
marriage.
There's other sub issues going on. There's something
Mm,
going on
mm,
with insecurity, or what have you, that's causing him to panic when his wife
mm,
puts on a nice dress and is going to work, or going
mm.
to her work environment.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Uh,
I've got my
and
other guest speaker that just came in now. Let me
so,
quickly introduce her, although she's not on the flyer because by the time we had our discussion, it was too late. But she's not new on Come Let's Listen Together. She's been here before. Steph Polio from Australia. She'd already told me that she might be joining a bit late, and I thank God that she was able to make it. So she is men advocates in marriage. That's how I'm going to describe her. She's men advocates in marriage. She deals with men who are actually looking for spouses. I'm sure you must have met her on this program before. And she's doing something fantastic at the moment that she would like to share with us, and she'll be contributing towards this particular. Maybe she's our own aspect of contribution will be from the men perspective now. I will see what she's gonna say. Welcome, Stephanie Polio. Do you want to introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you all? I'm
We are
sorry,
fine.
I'm a little bit late. I think I got the timing wrong. I actually got up because I'm from Australia, and I got up. I didn't actually go out because I thought I was going to go out and
Oh,
then
really?
straight on the show. So I ended up going to bed, and then I woke up and I was on an hour ago. But what time is it now in the UK?
3 o'clock, 3:03.
Oh, really? Oh, I did come on, but the Zoom didn't, I was on 5 minutes too, and it didn't actually come, like I wasn't entering the room, and I thought maybe I'm early. So I went and checked the time zone, and it said that I was still early. It was 1 o'clock. But anyway, I'm here, and I apologize for being late.
That's fine.
Yes, I'm sorry I missed out on your talk. Is it Gaspar and Cheryl?
Yes.
Yeah,
Casper, yes.
Casper. Okay, so basically I'm a men's dating and relationship therapist and coach. I call myself the female advocate. Why do I call myself a female advocate? Because I help men in all areas, but particularly with understanding um, female psychology, the way females think, and not only what females want, but what females actually truly respond to. I use different modalities when I'm working with people, but predominantly, particularly at the moment, I'm working with a lot of men that have suffered a lot of trauma in relationships and are really struggling to get back out there and meet women again, whether it because they're the trauma has been definitely does affect one in moving forward. Ideally, they want to be in a relationship, they really want to be with someone. However, the um the the wounds, the pain, the scars, the hurt is really, really deep. So I do a lot of that healing the hearts, but also I'm also an energy healer, and I work with um, aligning, I guess, the chakras. We all have an energy field, and helping people come into alignment through working with the elements of the earth. It's quite an intricate type of modality, but it's really, really good, and I'm seeing amazing results with my clients. So yeah, that's what I do. And I also have female clients, believe it or not, because after working with men and after working with men that are married and having relationship problems, then the wives are seeing the results and thinking, what's going on? Is this really my husband? Is this really happening? Is he changing? I can't believe this is happening. So one particular lady, she wanted to meet me. She wasn't really sure who I was and why her husband was changing for the better. But she was so impressed that she decided to come on board. And it's been amazing journey for both of them because they're on the same page. And I think when people are on that journey of healing or wanting to repair, rebuild a relationship, whether they're in a marriage or um, a committed relationship, when two people are coming from the same viewpoint and they're healing at the same time, it's just magnificent. The changes, the transformations have been absolutely fantastic. So
Thank you,
yeah,
Steph.
that's what I basically do.
Thank you, Steph. So I'm going to put the question to you now. Looking at the topic that we are discussing today about leadership imbalance, and then, spouses trying to dominate each other within their relationship. Have you had any experience of men that have gone through this trauma and now trying to get back into relationship? Because I know you deal with men. So you've mentioned that probably they've gone through trauma and now they are a bit very skeptical about who to go out with. Will that be one of the, could you tell us whether you've met any man that you're trying to help that one of the problem was the leadership imbalance in his former relationship, like trying to control with domination instead of love, or the woman was trying to control the man? So if you can
Yeah,
just give us a brief information about that. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. I definitely do work with men in having both either been a controller, dominating in a relationship, or being controlled. And basically, there's an imbalance. There's definitely an imbalance. And the control happens, I believe, again, it may be because that's what's been modeled to them. It could be. That's what's been modeled to them by their fathers. It could be also a means of protection. If I don't get in first and dominate and control, she's going to come in and control me. Also, it's a worldview of what a man should be in a relationship, that the man should lead, the man should dominate, the man should do this, the man should do that. And I think if these conversations are not discussed in a relationship, it can definitely get all out of balance. Definitely, because the woman may want to control, or the woman may not want to control. Either way, there's an imbalance. Now, for some relationships, it suits some people for either her to be the dominating one, the controlling one. But is it control or is it leadership? We need to define it, because some people might just be great leaders. They're great at delegating, organizing. And for other people, they may look at that as control, not necessarily as leadership, only because growing up, they saw their father do that, and they saw their father treat their mother in a controlling way, and the mother reacting in a very traumatic way, that they see that as control rather than leadership. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're listening to you.
Yeah. So I think it's really important to have conversations, to communicate, to really, understand your partner, your wife or your husband, what they like, what they don't like, what they believe, what do they call this, what do they define this as being. Does the wife still have to stay home and cook, clean, look after the children? I mean, there's still a lot of relationships out there that have that view of what a marriage or a relationship partnership should be. They haven't, I'm not saying that they should evolve. It's just what suits them. It's what suits them as a couple. Yeah. I'm not sure if I've answered your question.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you actually answered the question, and I think you've put another spice into the discussion now, because you mentioned that sometimes in a marriage, some people see leadership as control, while others see it as a pure man, or woman, or it's going to be a man, because a woman cannot lead that home. It has to be the man, because in the aspect of a woman trying to lead that home, it will become controlling. It will become domineering. So, but
Yeah.
when a woman now sees the way she's being treated as a leader, a leadership style of a thing, then that's like another case entirely. But when the woman sees it as, you are not giving me the space to grow, you are just kind of caging me and telling me everything I need to do, then it becomes domineering. And that's
Yes.
sometimes when it becomes a long-term issue, it doesn't work in that family. Yes, we've had today that we need to apply wisdom, but how long will this continue for in the aspect of a woman who is trying to apply wisdom, but it keeps on, it's an ongoing event. I've seen some men, or I've had some family that they will say, when their wife make pounded yam. I'm sure most of my participants that are on this platform will understand what I'm saying. So we have this flour made of yam, and you can turn it to become a carbohydrate that you can eat. But
Yes.
then
I've had
that's
it before.
oh, you've had it before. Good. That's very good. But then that you can do it naturally. From the yam itself, you can actually pound the yam to make that food. So but it is easier to use the flour one. It's easier and it's quicker to use the flour one rather than pounding the yam itself, because the pounding the yam requires energy. And we've seen some men that will tell their wife that, no, I don't want the flour one. You need to go and pound that yam for me. And it could even be at the very odd hours of the day and become a persistent thing. And the woman is trying to endure. The woman is trying to endure because believing that, oh yes, he's the head of the family, he's my husband. Not looking at the fact that, I'm giving a scenario now, not looking at the fact that this woman too, she works just like he works as well. She's in employment. And so you all both came together, you came back home together, and you want this woman to pound. Yeah, this woman has been enduring because she believed that he's my husband. I need to do what I'm supposed to do for him. But when does it becomes out of control? Out of control, that it becomes, this is not right. I don't know whether Pastor Jeremiah wants to come into this. And
Yes.
I'm gonna leave the floor open for anyone that wants to join us in this discussion as well. But I've just given another scenario to attach to the one I've given before. The one I gave before was a dress code. This is the way you have to dress. This is the type of shoe you have to wear. Oh, you can't wear that shoe. Oh, I've been in a scenario whereby when I put on a cloth and I'm going out with my husband will be pulling my cloth at my back like this because he believes that my body shape is showing. And there is time for endurance. We all have a limit of enduring one another, especially when you have been communicating, but it seems that that's what is being placed in the head of that man or that woman. So how do we manage this? Because for me, this scenario I just gave you, I will look at it as punishment for that woman. That's not love. That's saying that this is what I want and that's exactly what you need to do. Not considering the woman or her pain or her stress as well. So, Pastor Jeremiah, what do we do in this situation?
When leadership becomes control, domineering in marriage or relationship, a marriage or relationship, love leads authority. It's not domineering driven or control. in marriage. Love leads authority. It's not authority don't comes before love. Love leads authority. So then it's not by driven by domineering or control. So when it comes to situations like this that matters are becoming contention between both husband and wife, it shouldn't be allowed. Once when you now say that leadership imbalance in leadership in marriage, one party what the narrations you give now is based on African culture, but let me say it, let's look at it in the other way around now. Let's generalize it. When leadership imbalance begins to, it will appear in, there are steps that it will appear. Number one, it may appear like in the situation of maybe one party taking the decisions, not consulting the other party, making decisions that are not pleasant with the other persons. Like in some marriages, husbands will just come and say, okay, this is what we do, this is what we want, or this is what I'm doing, and it must be done. And when it now begins to appear in emotional intimidation or silent punishment, like our father said, emotional intimidation or silent punishments, is imbalanced. There are issues there. It's imbalanced. And when it's demanding submission, not sacrifice of love by force, that you must do this, submission, not sacrifice of love. All these things now become problem. And when it's becoming suppressive, is not balanced. The leadership is imbalanced, and it becoming control or domineering. The man wants to be the head, he wants to be the one dictating, and at some point the women wants to be the one deciding everything, which is very wrong in marriage. Marriage is not a field of power tussle. It is a covenant of companionship. It's not a field of control, who is in charge. No, it is a covenant of companionship that both parties must work together, grow together, and live together in love to fulfill one another's destiny. You are helping each other to fulfill one another's destiny. Let me say, maybe that's the English I'm using, but both of us must grow together, work together, understand together. And when it comes to marriages imbalance, you begin to see some symptoms of it, that some side effect or some signals. When one party is being silent, the other one is being the one talking, being in charge, everything. When the voice of one person is silent in marriage, that means the marriage or the relationship is wounded. There is danger. That's just the little things I want to say.
But with what you've just said now, can this happen without the person domineering or showing control, knows that that's exactly what he's doing or what she's doing?
Yes, it can happen. Sometimes we punish our partners emotionally without even speaking, without even talking. We can dominate by that, not even by command. We can, like our father said the other time, that sometimes women can dominate in one way or the other. But the major thing is this: marriage is not for both of us to be struggling for what to do. If I have issues with my wife, the dressing she's going out with, I should be able to tell her, okay, this is the reason why I don't want you to put on this. Some men they have the way they want their wife to look. They have a look, they want how they want their wife to look like. And there should be an agreement, there should be consultation between husband and wife when it comes to food, when it comes to meal in the house. Okay, what should we eat? Like a man like me now, I don't have choice. I don't have any best food. Anything they cook, I eat. In as much that if I come home, I will not be hungry. Anything they cook, I will eat. Even they said I will eat beans in the morning, eat beans in the afternoon, in the night, I will still eat. I don't give this thing. But any day I wish to cook, to eat what I want to eat, I will enter the kitchen. If nobody is available to cook for me, I will cook myself. So we have to understand each other. My wife, she's a career woman, she works. And sometimes if she goes to work, before coming back, I will prepare food for the house so that everybody will eat. Why will I be waiting and keep myself, starving myself, while somebody that is coming from her own office differently while I'm free? So there should be an understanding platform whereby the major problem, while these things will begin to erupt in marriage, why people will not understand themselves is still based on communication gap. It's still based on communication gap. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much. This communication of a thing. Wow.
Mm.
And people communicate, but it's just that they don't communicate effectively. Or probably we don't, I don't know whether it's a question-based thing. And at the point when this thing starts, maybe we don't know when to say stop, or like I think Shira mentioned about wisdom, or wisdom of how to to actually address the situation that I'm actually witnessing before me. But to the best of the knowledge of the woman that I gave her example, the best way she could do it was to keep quiet, because she just believed that if I carry this thing, you will tell me that that's not how I'm supposed to carry it. I am supposed to carry it in this way. So, and because it's becoming repetitive, she can do is to just shut down. And that shutting down for her is to please that man.
Mm-hmm.
So, how can a marriage like that flourish? Because
It
he
can't.
was lucky that he had other colleague in the office talking about him, because he was presenting. So I don't think for that man, his self-esteem, I think, is a character. And I think somebody mentioned something that you learn from your foundation, that what you see your parents doing. I don't know whether it was Steph that mentioned it. What you see your parents doing, and what you've adopted from them, and what
Mm-hmm.
you are carrying to your marriage as well. And it's not going to reflect only your marriage. It could reflect anywhere that you are actually being positioned in a position of a leader.
Yeah. You know, there was a Christian pastoral type couple. This is just a few weeks ago and stuff. They went to this gathering. I don't know what type of gathering it was, but the dress that the first lady, his wife, was wearing was
Very provocative.
very provocative. But he picked it out. And it wasn't like he didn't know, and it wasn't like she didn't know. And these are Christian leaders, right? I believe they were American pastors, Christian leaders and stuff. And the dress was so provocative that it got all kinds of attention, and all kinds of pushback from Christian leaders and just Christians in general, saying, why did she wear that? And then she proceeds to go on talk shows defending the dress because her husband picked it out, and he didn't mind. He was there, and he was I guess he was enjoying the fact that everybody was, all eyes were on her,
Hmm.
but they weren't on her because of her
What she was saying.
elegance. They were on her because of the of the pro- of the
Provocative.
dress. Yeah, yeah, the dress that was showing everything. so, so there's all levels of things that go into this. So in this couple's in this scenario, I think they just wanted to be elevated
Seen.
and seen, right? Because that's who they are. They dress um, up, and
For
they
attention.
for attention and for notoriety. Because I had never heard of them before until she wore up this type of dress out in public, right? So there's those type of people, but back to this scenario. She, there's all kinds of second guessing we think she should have done. I think for that night, the best thing to do would be to acquiesce, change the dress, cover up, or whatever. But immediately after that, they should be addressing the actual hidden issues that were going on in that situation. She should not have just retreated into submission. There should have been some prayer. There should have been some coaching, some reaching out to try to find out why he felt insecure. And like Cheryl said, and Pastor Jeremiah said, there's wisdom that she could have reached into to find out why he felt insecure, and then going to her job, maybe he felt insecure because he didn't know any of her coworkers, and he just felt like isolated. You know, she's winning the award and she's getting all the attention, and nobody even knows he exists. Right. So there's all kinds of things that we can look at in that scenario to make it better.
I also think that it was wisdom for that particular moment to just change the dress and keep silent. But I don't think that should be a lifestyle, though. I think, there's timing and the appropriate time. That was good for that appropriate time. But I don't think that's something that needs to be a lifestyle for her.
Yeah.
That's something that they both need to talk about. This needs to be addressed so that it is not a continual event, so that it doesn't grow to the point where she feels totally lost and uncomfortable in her marriage. That is not how marriage is supposed to flow.
Right.
And so they do need to have a conversation. They need to have counseling. They might need to find out, get to the deep root as to what's the hidden issue that's happening in his heart that's governing his behavior, so that this is not a reoccurring event.
Right.
I want to say something. You know, even if the woman disagreed with the opinion of the man, she should honor the opinion and create space for growth and not for fear, so that there will not be issues in the marriage.
Thank you very much. I'm listening. I don't know do you have anything you want to say, Steph?
Yes, I do. After listening to that, what I'm interested in knowing is, when does this all start? Has this been, this type of interaction started way after a certain time, or were these signs also in that period of courting, dating, before they got married? I think there's a lot to be discussed about what was then and what is now, because these things just don't happen. I think they've always been there. The signs have always been there. It's just that we, or either party, have not spoken up, have not communicated their feelings, have not communicated how they feel uncomfortable. So I always encourage, and I always say that this is just an accumulation, a compounding of events, and then it just goes, boom, to a point that it's very, very uncomfortable. So let me try and understand. Was she uncomfortable in her dress? Is that what you were saying, Caspar? That the lady was uncomfortable in her dress?
No, the lady was not. The lady dressed up for an award.
Yeah.
But the husband felt like she's looking too good. Let's put it that way. And asked her that she has to go and change the dress. So something he kind of preferred.
Right. So he picked the dress out, right? So
yeah, he just told the lady to go and change that.
Sorry,
he
Steph,
doesn't really like the dress that he's wearing. This is not meant for a married woman. We should go and change to more appropriate dress that is meant for married women. So you can imagine a lady wanting to go and get an award and wearing this beautiful dress, long gown, with not even exposing a part of the body, because I saw the picture and everything. But she was looking elegant, and I think the elegant part of it is the problem.
There are two different stories.
The man wants him to go and change to more native, traditional wear. Let's put it that way. That will make him look like, oh yes, this is a married woman. However, we all know that dressing actually dictates occasions. Would that be an appropriate dress for that occasion that this woman is going? But then she changed to please her husband, because that's the head of the family. So that's what we are looking at. that different things happen everywhere. So go ahead, Casper, I think you want to say something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I added a second story into the conversation, Stephanie. I was talking about a couple here in America that was very inappropriately dressed to go out to an event. That's a different story than what the prophetess is talking about.
Oh, so okay. So that's a different story.
Yeah.
So, because sometimes too, if I can say, the insecurity that pops up is not so much the dress that's being worn, but how she's wearing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So she can be very confident in her body, and she's wearing this provocative dress, or this dress that's, kind of sexy by the sounds of it, right? And possibly inappropriate for the occasion. But she possibly is even wearing it with such confidence that that's what's disturbing her partner. And that's a reflection of, well, what's going on within him? What's the insecurity there, right? So there's a whole lot of different angles to look at it. Definitely. Yeah, thought-provoking, right?
Wow. Thank you very much, Steph. Thank you. I've opened this platform. If you have one or two things that you want to contribute from your own perspective, you can join us before we end today's program. Now, let's go into this area of thoughts. When this kind of issue become persistent, and let's look at a woman doing it to a man. A woman doing it to a man. And I'm going to quickly share a scenario again. Whereby we think we are showing love, but then it's kind of look like we are controlling, trying to dominate the man. So when a man wants to go to anywhere, this woman is always there. And I think it's this insecurity of a thing. Until it drags on and on and on and on that this woman neglected our own needs. And you and I know the end result. It didn't end well. It didn't end well because it ended in death. Because the woman left our own care to keep on pursuing this man. Because everybody man is going, she's there. Everywhere she's there. When should we stop, put boundaries in trying to show love, which is not love, but if I don't know whether I would call it infatuation, I would call it fatal attraction that will make me to leave my own thing and then be pursuing this particular, man. How do we balance this? Because this story I'm telling you is bigger than the picture I've just shown you, and it didn't end well. But then, how do we manage that? I mean, assuming somebody comes to you, because they're all counselors, and tell you this is what has been happening, what would you be saying to them?
Can I say something, please?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, well, in marriage, there are boundaries that never protect the two parties, or both parties, or the husband or the wife. There are boundaries that never protect them. So we should be very careful while setting boundaries when it comes to a relationship. We should be able to balance it. Otherwise, it will lead to disaster, because such occasions, like that of the woman, she's trying to monitor the movement of her husband. She's not trying to be everywhere the husband is. She's trying to police her husband to know her husband whereabouts. One thing that we'll first of all need to ask ourselves: the woman may not know the kind of man she got married to until after the marriage. She got to understand that, okay, maybe this man is promiscuous, or this man is a cheater, this man is wayward, or maybe anything we can call it. But at some point, even with that, you don't need to go in such direction. Let me give an illustration of a man. This man worked with one of the oil companies in Nigeria, and he is coming for a training, and he's going to be spending 2 months. And the man had a girlfriend, and that the wife never knew about. But the day that the woman is preparing the man's bags and clothes that the man will carry for the journey, because he's not going to return until after 2 months. The woman pick some let me use it condom and put it inside the man's backpack, them with his clothes, and said, please. He said the man is narrating what happened now, that the woman knelt down and said, see, even if you want to do anything, protect yourself. Remember that you have innocent wife at home and your children. That is just the statement. The man said he repented immediately in that place, and he have to stop. They immediately stop the relationship he's having, the affairs he's having outside the marriage. You have to stop it, because his conscience begins to judge him. You don't need to go extra miles monitoring somebody, monitoring your wife. That person will die of hypertension or die of serious issues. Or you just keep on destroying the relationship, maybe your husband's business, the woman, or maybe if he's a man, you'll be destroying the relationship you have. The only thing, the only preaching you can preach, or the talks you can talk to somebody, maybe your partner, anybody that is suspecting you, or maybe trying to do that, is just to tell the person, calm down. Or maybe if somebody is going out such, please be very careful. Just that's all. And take off your eyes. If you are not showing too much concern, that person will not go extra miles or be doing what you don't want to do, or maybe that thing will not persist, or you will not even give yourself problem. High blood pressure. God will help us. So thank you so much.
Wow, thank you for your contribution. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to come back to you, Gaspar and Sherelle.
Yeah, I've so the first of all, the woman is insecure in this scenario, so she wants to follow her husband around, or her man around wherever he goes. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter if she does that or not. She's always going to be insecure. That's the issue they need to deal with. Um, it's um, it's a challenging situation, but it almost always comes back to respect. If he respects her and she respects him, then none of that is going to take place. And like the situation that Jeremiah was talking about, the husband repented because he realized he didn't respect his wife. He's doing things behind her back, and in the eyes of God, he was wrong, right? So, but he lost the respect for his wife initially because he even had a girlfriend, right? Just the fact that you have an extramarital affair means that you have no respect for your spouse. You don't, I mean, unless it's a situation where you both are doing the same thing, and that's a whole nother, that's a whole nother story. But um, if you both believe that you are only for each other, and then one is um, um, doing things behind the other's back, then you have lost. Um, you're not respecting that individual.
Thank you so much. So that's another point. Respect. So if there is full respect within that relationship, none of them should be scared of whatever the other is doing. They should be able to. I mean, we've spoken about trust here. Um, there shouldn't be any way that you want to dominate each other or you want to love out of trying to control the person, because you trust yourselves right from the start. So I think it still go back to the foundation that we spoke about, that how did they started this relationship? Was this relationship was it started on a platform of trusting each other to an extent? Because if you trust your spouse, let her dress, as long as the dressing is appropriate, you won't be scared about anything, because you know the kind of person you married to. And the the habit of saying you have to wear this, you have to wear that, won't be coming in, because you know the person you are dealing with. You've just shared with us that a man actually asked his wife to wear this this gown that is, I mean, pronounced to everyone, and it was the husband's choice. So, but when we see, we start thinking that, oh, but they are pastors, she shouldn't be dressing like this. But the man said that's what he wants. And that's the part of submitting to our husband's wants and needs. So we can see how imbalanced this thing could be. So I don't know. I just try to look at the whole scenario and say, look, how should we manage our love relationship, especially in marriage? And I'm not talking about newly married or whatever. Even marriages that are like, imagine somebody saying that he's going to celebrate 30 years of marriage, and we're still hearing this kind of a thing in their marriage. You think there's a problem? Because by now they should have understood each other in every areas of their lives. So when we now see people that are there and are still going through this, what is your advice, Steph, as a counselor who counsels men that have gone through trauma before? They're trying to go back into another marriage and they're scared of whatever has happened. It could be these things like this that happened to them, that they didn't know how to manage it at that time. Now they want to get better understanding of how to manage it appropriately without any stress. So what would you be saying to them?
Well, that's a really great question, because it all stems back to finding out and working backwards as to where this core issue started. Because that insecurity that's happening in that relationship didn't just start after 10 years, after 7 years, or even the beginning of the relationship. As I said earlier, the signs are always there. It's just when we, particularly, a lot of us, we're in a new relationship, we're blinded by the whole honeymoon stage, I call it, of the relationship. You're in love, you feel great with this person, the chemistry's great, the conversations you think are great, but really we're not being counseled at the beginning of our relationships. I think that's where the issue is. I truly believe anyone that's wanting to go into a committed relationship, a marriage, or even living together, because that seems to be the big new norm now, right? Where they're not getting married, but they're just living together like a marriage. There's no preparation for that. People are not preparing. People are not being counseled. And I think that's really, really important. However, going back to your question, it's having seeking help. If you know that you're insecure, or that your spouse is saying, you're being irrational, or you're showing signs of insecurity, you don't trust me. What is it that you don't trust about me? There needs to be a discovery, like a going deeper and finding out, where is this coming from? Where are these core issues coming from? Because if you can go back and trace them back there and heal them, resolve them, forgive them, you will then have a better chance of moving forward in your relationship, rather than staying in a relationship being submissive when you don't want to be submissive, not feeling comfortable in communicating, not being able to express. It's all feeling trapped. It's like two individuals feeling like they can't be themselves because they're too afraid that they're going to upset the other person. And, you know, there's this theory, the Karpman theory or the Karpman triangle. I'm not sure if you've heard of it before. Does anyone know of it? It's about where we fall into a triangle where we're either a victim, a rescuer, or a persecutor. And what happens is we all do it. We float around between the three dynamics of this triangle. And some people remain more in the rescuer part, they've got to rescue their partner all the time. And it may be done through domineerance, but they're thinking that they're rescuing them, fixing them. Then the other prosecutor is, well, the prosecutor is telling them, is aggressive and, voicing their ways, also possibly in controlling ways, because it's a protection mode. It's what they know how to handle and how to handle situation. Or the other one is the, I said, the rescuer, the persecutor, or the victim. That's right, the victim, where it's just better just to sit back, not say anything, not rock the boat. Have you heard of the expression, happy wife, happy life? A lot of men fall into that category because that's what they hear. Happy wife, happy life. So what happens is they start just pleasing all the time. They don't even know how to express themselves. And they're causing themselves and their relationship more damage, more harm. But they were told, if you keep your wife happy, she'll be happy. That means our life will be happy. Really? We question that, right? Because it's not always the case. Because you're keeping it happy by just being submissive, being the victim. Well, if I don't say anything, she won't get upset with me. So, yeah, there's a lot to be unpacked.
Thank you very
There's a
much.
lot to be unpacked.
Thank you
So
very much.
we can,
The victim.
yeah, and what's that, sorry?
I said, I'm looking at the victim, the rescuer and the persecutor. And that one will make me to ask this question quickly before we end today's program. And I know a lot of us were Christians. And that brings me to pastors and their wives. Pastors and their wives. Because we indirectly see these things among them. Whether they are doing it because of love or they're trying to dominate their spouse, I'm not sure. And I believe that, as pastors who are pastoring a lot of people, some of the people that they will be pastoring are either women or men. So in the aspect of a man who is a pastor, they're pastoring women. Women are part of their congregations. And in the area of the woman being the pastor, he is pastoring men as well. And at a particular time, they are like counselors, they are like doctors, they have clients to see. And then it becomes a situation whereby the woman, whenever the man is having conversation with, some of these members, she's going up and down, closing the door, opening the door, closing the door, opening the door. Because why? She's trying to control that minute. Maybe, or you spending too much time with him, or you do it. And the same thing with pastors who are women as well. Maybe men, but most of the ones that we see, that I see personally, is pastoring women. The kind of thing, maybe doing this can instill fear in the man, and then they can dominate his thoughts. So, as will such pastors deal with this incident without destroying their home? And that's what we're going to use to cap this today. How will that man who is a pastor pastoring women, how will he manage it without destroying his home? Because I think we all know that the first thing that a pastor should cherish is the family before the church. However, he has been given the mantle to direct the sheep. So, and all he will be looking at is that I must not lose any of this sheep. So how does he balance both? When you can say, I didn't marry you because for you to become a pastor. I didn't marry you for you to be, how do you manage this? And this is what I'm going to use to cap today's love and not dominate. Don't love out of, love, not controlling love, but law or domination, but love because the Bible tells that we must love each other, agape love. So I don't know who wants to pick up this.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yes, I want to say it. When it comes to dominating each other in marriage, when it comes to pastors, I want to say the pastors' wives are domineering. Why? Because a lot of them wants to control their husbands. What the ones I've seen, let me use that. And I noticed that in marriage, in pastors' marriage, the wives are always domineering. But in some cases, when it comes to counseling, attending to church members, all these things, some, well, we were being taught in our Bible schools, you can't counsel a woman in private.
Exactly.
And if you are to counsel a woman, your wife should be around. And the wives were being taught that if your husband is spending more than the hours or maybe the minutes he ought to spend with the woman in question, you should be able to check on the pastor in order to rescue the pastor from falling into temptation. A lot of things are happening, and a lot of people are coming, even accusing pastors for wrongdoings and for what they did not do. Nobody will, if the woman there has come to try what is wrong, nobody will be able to check that. But we have a father in the Lord in our mission that he told his wife that if a woman entered his office in 10 minutes time, just come and knock and open the door and say, Daddy, well done, go back. Then in the next 20 minutes, if the person refused to go, then still come back again, said, oh, this is what you requested for. Then bring something as a signal. Then in 30 minutes time, if the woman comes the third time, he himself will now tell the person, please, you need to leave now. It's part of the teachings that we've received and trainings we've received, because a lot of things are happening. The devil himself is not taking it easy with the pastors. So sometimes it's not part of the dominating or controlling, but it's part of checkmating and helping their spouse in order not to fall into temptation. That is what I would just say about this. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Pastor Jeremiah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I know
Yes, go on.
I know we're coming to the end, so I'll be quick. A pastor should never put himself in a position to be questioned about who he's meeting with and how he's meeting them. So even though it might be a sensitive issue that the female parishioner wants to share, it still needs to be in a public space to where others can witness it, not hear, but they can see that, there's nothing going on. Pull them to the side or whatever. But being in a closed office for a long period of time is definitely not wise as a pastor. If I meet with a female, to talk about business or whatever, I'm not meeting her in a closed environment, meeting her in a public place, maybe a coffee shop or something like that, to where it can easily be seen that there's nothing going on, right? So that just needs to be something that
I was
pastors.
actually going to say that should pastor's office be a glass house where everybody can see what's going on, even though the store is shut. But however, the office is a glass house, so you can see the two people that are there discussing. You might not hear what they're saying, but at least everybody can see what is going on. Or should pastors now be having a chaperone? Because I know within health, if you want to see a patient, if a doctor who is a man wants to see a patient who is a woman, and it's got to do with maybe intensive assessment, they will request for a chaperone so that
Right,
they
right.
can, yeah. So should pastors now adopt that system as well? I don't know. I'm just thinking loud. I don't know. Your last word, Steph, and then we'll come to the
Yeah, just on that note, should they have a chaperone? I I believe yes. If he's feeling uncomfortable or she's feeling uncomfortable, I think that should be something that, particularly if this is happening where I'm not sure, is it they're both stepping out of line or people are persecuting them, are putting them in a situation. Yeah, I think these things all just need to be communicated, made clear, very much. Or like in my therapy sessions, which are all online, I record everything. It's all very confidential. It goes nowhere apart from me. But if something was to arise,
you have an evidence.
you have something to say, well, this is what happened. These are all my recordings. These are all the sessions I've had with this person.
Yeah.
That's just covering yourself because,
Mm-hmm.
people can also misinterpret. It's not about you stepping out of line. You may not be stepping out of line at all, but that other person's internal filtering system will take it in and totally delete, distort, or generalize what you've just said
Yeah.
into a way that can become a disaster.
Yes.
So I think taking precautions, steps, maybe, signing something prior to the meetups. Yeah. But I think like Casper said, some meetings can be definitely done in public, in public areas. That's
Thank you
my
so
take.
much. Thank you so much. Wow. We have now come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for all of you joining me, including our participants and those that will be listening or watching this video later on. I think the key words that we've had today is wisdom, is trust, is love, and not just love by mouth, but love as according to what how God told us to love each other. That we can control in love, but not in dominating our partner in all aspects of any situation. And if we trust each other, we shouldn't be having that problem. And that trust supposed to have come in right from the foundation of your marriage anyway. It shouldn't be along the way. And we've had, I don't think there's any discussion we had on this platform that doesn't still fall on effective communication. Yes, we did mention communication, but communication could come in different ways. We've had today about passive communication, whereby it's a weapon that other people use to fight each other, to showcase their anger without speaking, but they showing they showing attitude, they keeping quiet. And I know a lot of women doesn't like their men keeping quiet, or men too doesn't like women keeping quiet. It becomes like a form of aggression. So that's what we've had today, that we can actually lead in our family in love, but not in domineering, in domineering each other, or dominating each other, or probably controlling each other. It doesn't make the relationship look better. But what will happen is that it will kind of destroy the marriage. And this is marriages that may have been built for years. So why do you feel uncomfortable? Okay, so if you know that you are lacking esteem, because that's what I'm going to say now, because I think for people to get into this level of mistrusting their women, and starting to dictate, this is the type of clothes you have to wear, this is the type of shoe you have to wear, this is the type of the makeup you have to put on, this is the type of and the women to saying, oh, I can see you the way you're wearing your trouser, you're not packed properly. It's because we lack trust. And these are things that we're supposed to be communicating with each other. And we've had now that as pastors, you need to, counsel in a glass room. And when I say glass room, in an open area where people will see what is going on, so nobody will come back to haunt you, or you will not be tempted beyond your capacity.
Right.
And we know that women, if they're given the opportunity, they can dominate men. I'm sure you all know that. If they are given that opportunity to actually walk like 1, 2, 3 miles, they are ready to walk 10 miles. If they are given that opportunity, because they like to be in control of the whole thing. But that's not love. That's what we just had to do. That's not love. Love doesn't control each other. Love
Right.
actually equal each other and make their homes and their environment more conducive for more love. Thank you
Amen.
so much, Stephanie. Even though you joined us
Thank you.
late, your contribution has been worth it. Thank you so much. And
Thank
if
you,
you can
Patty.
put in the chat room your information about the therapeutic thing that you do now, maybe people can contact you. You never know. Stephanie worked with men, not only in marriage now, is now working therapeutically with their health as well, and it's working. I know Casper and Shirel have put their information in the chat room. If you need counseling, I don't know how much they take, I don't know how much they charge, but I want to believe that if you tell them that you are from Come Let's Reason Together, you'll be discounted, even if they charge.
Family
They,
discount for sure.
Exactly. They've been in this business for long, and they're doing very well. So you can contact them. The address is on the chat, is in the chat room. You can pick it up from there. And what would I say about Pastor Jeremiah? He's one of us. So if you want to get in touch with him, he's a pastor. You want to get in touch with him, you can speak to me and I can connect you with him. He's been a good ambassador of Come Let's Reason Together. And I want to appreciate all of you that has joined us this afternoon. I want to appreciate all my mothers and daddies, in fact, that joined me today. Some of them have left. I really want to appreciate you, Maz and Saz, for joining us. And I believe you've actually learned one or two things from today's discussion. So if you have anyone that is still struggling with controlling and domineering their spouse, we've had it all today. And this is what you can share with your children as well. Control and domineering doesn't upgrade a marriage, it destroys that home. So let's be very, very conscious on the way we present each other or present ourselves to each other. And I pray that God will continue to help us. Thank you very much for joining me today until we come your way in 2 weeks' time when we'll be having another nice discussion on this platform. I say thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay blessed. Bye.
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 See ya.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I do have a link